So this first piece is called Interwoven, and this is really kind of what started everything. It's 2019, I was taking my first college-level art course, and our teacher just gave us micron pens and told us to just kind of do whatever we felt like, and this is kind of what I ended up doing. I wasn't really sure what to do at first, but the more that I worked with line and the more that I did to make this composition, my mind felt clearer, and I felt like some things that were, going on in my mind at the time due to depression and anxiety were being dealt with, and so it made me want to make more of these works.
Look at that. Look at all those details in Sharon. Did you see all those details? Okay, did you see the details?
See what on me itching my nose? Thanks, Dad.
She saw the details.
Okay. The second piece is called I Dream of Scones. This one's more of a lighthearted, whimsical feel. If we look at this shape right here, it kind of looks like a waffle cone, but more than that, it's just kind of just a regular pastry-like shape, or kind of like a scone. So it's just kind of, just a very lighthearted, whimsical, like, I dream of scones kind of deal. I like scones, especially the Fisher ones. They're very good.
Fisher scones are amazing. Okay.
This third piece is called Emerge.
Sorry.
And this one is a bit more dramatic. Really, I just kind of wanted to encapsulate kind of the emergence of new thoughts and ideas. But to me, it's also kind of an emergence, it kind of feels like what it feels like for me when I am a bit anxious. It's not just boom anxiety, you can feel it kind of building in you for a little bit until it really surfaces. So for me, it's kind of, an emergence of all sorts of things. That's kind of more what it represents. Thanks, my teacher likes the geometric shapes paired with the organic shapes. She kept telling me.
I do. I think it's super cool. Geometric and organically geometric. Is that a thing?
Very organically geometric. Okay.
I don't think that's how it works.
This next piece is called Tears Fall Down. I'm gonna just read my blurb again. It is no secret that tears are just a part of life. At least I hope it isn't a secret. For this piece, I really wanted to encapsulate these tears we experience, whether from pain or sorrow or trauma or anything else. To do this, I included drops coming from cloud-like shapes, but I also wrote the phrase tears fall down in International Morse code in the cloud shapes. It was important to me that I use International Morse code rather than American Morse code to highlight how tears apply to everyone in the world.
Look at those cool Morse code. Isn't that awesome? And then up here, look at that cool Morse code.
Yeah, that one's one of my favorite pieces.
I really love this one. This one's cool. And like that whole, for me, I like the flower too, because it's like what grandmother, I'm gonna cry. So what grandmother says, our tears are God's way of watering the flowers, and we're his flowers. So that's what that reminds me of.
Maybe she inspired me.
She may have, because she is an artist.
Cool. Artiste.
Artissimo.
All right. And this one.
This next one is called Mentality, and this is my double self-portrait. This piece was made to show how I, as well as many others, feel in regards to personal mental health. And for this one, I'm not going to read the blurb, I'll just explain it. So this portrait on the left is obviously masked. And the colors, though bright, are a bit more muted than the portrait on the left, and they kind of blend into each other more. It's less defined, and you can still tell what things are, but it's more vague, I guess. This portrait on the right has more color and a lot more darker values. It's also unmasked. And really what I'm trying to get at So, yeah. So among my mental health issues, I guess, is I have generalized anxiety disorder and recurring depression. And a lot of the times I feel like I need to kind of put on a mask, like the portrait on the left. Just seem like I'm more put together for society, because people judge and people can get really mean. And it's one of those, like, I would never walk into a job interview, like, whenever they're like, okay, what else should we know? I never tell anyone about my mental health, because I know that I'm never going to get a job if I let them know that, even though I can take care of myself. I've been doing it since I was little. So that's really what the portrait on the left represents, kind of what society wants to see. But the portrait on the right is who I really am. And it's no less beautiful than the mask. And I would say it's more important because it's my true authentic self. And my mental health struggles may they may seem darker and they may seem scary, but you really don't need to be afraid of me. And so for me and for other people who struggle with mental health, I just really want to encapsulate that it may be a bit scarier at first, but you don't need to be afraid. You don't need to look down on us. We're just as powerful and we're just as strong despite our struggles. It doesn't mean that we're any less than anyone else. That's all I have to say about that.
What do you have to say about that? Okay, I'm going to give her a shot of the blurb
Oh, okay.
so she can see the blurb, so she can read it while she's, drinking her wine and listening to her classical music. All right, this piece was made to show how I, as well as many others, feel in regards to personal mental health. The portrait on the left is masked and modeled in dull, similar colors, making it all blend into itself. In contrast, the portrait on the right has no mask and features more contrasting and deep colors, causing it to be more defined and dark than the right portrait. So I'm trying to do this at the same time. Often people with mental health issues feel that they need to present themselves as put together or more normal, like everyone else seems. It makes them feel like they need to put on masks on how they feel. Otherwise, they fear they may be ridiculed, hurt, discriminated, or let down upon. I know this is true of my experience with generalized anxiety disorder, recurring depression, and more. That being said, mental health is just another part of us. Everyone has things that affect it. Some just face different things on a daily basis and need more help. My issues are just another part of what makes me who I am. I'm not scary and I shouldn't have to feel ashamed or fearful. Maybe this part of me, of all of us, is darker and looks more scary or intimidating than masks, but it is in no way less beautiful and or important than what others may wish to see. This is what the portrait on the right demonstrates. That's my girl.
That's my girl. I think my mom's a little proud.
A little. I have every right to be proud.
Oh, thanks. This next piece is called Just a Bit Slow and Scattered. And really, this part, it's got the coils, but then it's also got the shapes that kind of splay outward. And it just really reminded me of a snail. And snails are, of course, notorious for being fast. No, they're notorious for being slow. And these little, like, kind of puzzle pieces kind of things, they start out really clumped together at first, but as they spread out, it becomes more disconjoined. And in addition to mental health, I've also, for the past few years, had a lot of physical health challenges come up. And even though we have answers now, there's still some days where it affects my mind. It's really hard to think or to retain information or to articulate what I need to articulate. And so for me, this is another representation of that. Just some days you're just a little bit slow and scattered, and everyone has those days. Yeah, so that's kind of what that is for me.
Look at those gold stars I just noticed. Look at those details. I gotta show her the details because,
And Shira needs to know that
this is an art exhibition. She's gotta touch it, feel it.
So this next one is called Wonderful. And for this piece, I tried to capture how a full mind may feel in a state of wonder. The whole composition is brimming with objects and movement, like when a symphony of ideas, sounds, memories, or songs flood in. It seems chaotic, and to an extent it is, but it remains a whimsical and wondrous experience at its core. So yeah, it's a full page of just details, and a lot of the lines, especially here in the bottom corner. I didn't mean to touch that, oops. Just because of how tight they are and kind of the way that they're made on the paper, it looks like they're kind of moving, kind of like an ocean, I feel. So, yeah.
I agree.
This next piece is called Muddy Puddles. And yeah, so like these kind of blobby shapes just kind of reminded me of mud. Sorry, my brain. If we draw our attention down here in particular, it's really hard to tell which shapes are in front of which shapes and which are behind. And really, this to me is just kind of what happens when a mind feels muddled, which is also part of why I named it Muddy Puddles, because I'm a sucker for a pun, and it's probably not that great a pun, but at the time it made me chortle. It's Muddy Puddles instead of muddled. So yeah, that's kind of what that one is. And then this last piece is called Furled. So what I had to say was, sometimes ideas seem to get stuck. Words can be hard to articulate or even say, or things can otherwise be lost in translation. In moments like these, it can feel tense in one's brain, as if ideas are fighting to break free. By including the swirls, which are tight or stiff, or furled, I strive to capture this tension, but give a sense that it's still possible for them to break free and unfurl.
Oh, it reminds me of Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh,
That totally in the way, honey. Sorry.
You know what I'm talking about, right? The land that's all
Mhm.
curly and stuff.
Yeah, so that is my exhibition project. And big shout out to my friends Jenna and Maggie, because without them, I would not have been able to put up my artworks. I'm kind of broken right now. And shout out to Mary too, because we were having a hard time with that frame and she helped us fix it. So it now attaches to the wall and isn't gonna break. Yeah, so thanks for viewing.
Thanks
Nice day.
Thanks for watching. Like